What does everyone say to some miniature golf, followed by a round of frosty chocolate milkshakes?
That's right, today we will be reviewing miniature golf on the Atari 2600. Hello, I'm Grin Grimsley, and as you probably don't know, as I've never said it on this channel before, I'm a big fan of miniature golf, the regular kind. And therefore I suppose I'm probably going to be a big fan of miniature golf, the digital kind, the Atari 2600 kind. The fact that there is a real kind of miniature golf adds an interesting dimension to the review, because unlike every other game I've reviewed before, this is not so much fantasy as it is a simulator, I suppose. I've not really fought aliens in space, or at least I'm contractually obligated to not admit that I've fought aliens in space, but I can say that I have played miniature golf, and therefore I can compare this game to real-life miniature golf. On the front cover of the cartridge for miniature golf, you can see 3 people enjoying a game of miniature golf. Interesting, the 2 people behind and the 1 person in front all seem to be cheering on the shot quite happily, which I just find bizarre, as none of them seem to be secretly hoping their opponent fails to give them an upper hand. You can also see that the miniature golf course on the cartridge goes up to 18 holes, which is a blatant lie, as in the game itself it only goes up to 9 holes. This can be forgiven, however, because it is a very pretty picture. So let's put in the game itself and see how it holds up to the picture. As I mentioned earlier, there are 9, not 18 holes, each of them with their own individual layouts. The graphics, while simplistic, are instantly recognizable. If you know the game is miniature golf, and you look at the screen, you can instantly see where the putting area is, you can instantly see where the hole is, you can instantly see where the ball is, and you can even tell which one the bumpers are. It might be simplistic, but it gets the job done. When you start each hole, in the top left of the screen it tells you which hole you're on, and in the top right of the screen it tells you what the par is. For those of you who are not miniature golf enthusiasts, par is the maximum amount of time you can hit the ball before it goes in the hole without your friends making fun of you for being bad at miniature golf. Unlike pretty much every other game I've ever seen on the Atari 2600, the aim is not to get a high score but a low score. But also, unlike pretty much every game I've seen on the Atari 2600, there is no punishment for doing bad. The game just goes on for as long as it goes. So I guess the only real punishment is self-loathing or your friends ridiculing you. Just like real miniature golf, come to think of it. And now that I've mentioned friends, I should point out that this game, not unlike real miniature golf, is also multiplayer. You and your friend can take turns hitting the ball, and the person with the lowest score at the end wins. The first time I played through the game, I did not get under par at all, and instead discovered that if you get over 99 points, your score ticks back down to 0. Therefore, getting 1 for the entire game, I suppose I did get under par, although it did feel a little bit dirty. If I want to get a better score than that, I'm going to have to shut off the logical part of my mind, embrace nothingness, and become like an uncarved stone. And while I'm working on all that hippie crap, allow me to tell you how you actually play the game. Not unlike Missile Command, you use your pleasure stick to move a cursor around the screen. The position of your cursor in relation to the ball allows you to determine how much power and angle you put into your shots. And of course, like real miniature golf, your aim is to get your ball into the hole. Just like real miniature golf, a perfectly lined up shot can get you a hole-in-one, and just like real miniature golf, missing a perfect shot can really screw over your game. When you're doing well in the game is fantastic, and when you're doing bad in the game is completely frustrating and you hate it. So in that sense, it's also just like miniature golf. Once again, not unlike miniature golf, the best way to play this game is multiplayer. However, the single-player aspect is also great fun. It would have been cool, however, if you could just select which hole you wanted to play so you could practice a bit by yourself. So let's talk about negatives. As I said, it would have been cool to have a practice option, but the second negative in the game is that there's only 9 holes. It would have been cool if there were 18 holes, but I suppose this is actually a positive dressed up as a negative, because if the game wasn't great fun, I wouldn't be wishing for more holes, would I? And the third negative in the game is glitches. If you hit the ball as hard as you can, it sometimes does some weird stuff. For instance, there was this time where it phased through a wall, and it also in this time it seems to have gotten stuck in purgatory. And at one point, which I was not able to catch on camera, my ball was hit by the bouncer out through the arena and just, well, it was gone, so that was really game over. This is obviously not a good thing, but On the other hand, it's also a bit reflective of real miniature golf, because if you slug your ball as hard as you can, there is a chance it will disappear. And also, if the miniature golf course manager sees you doing it, there's a chance your game would be over as well. So I guess that's kind of just the ball going into the car park and you being sent home with your head hanging low. Negatives aside, as you can see, if you practice at the game, you can get a much better score and you can really figure out the best way to play each hole. So as always, when we come to the end of these reviews, I'm forced to answer the question I always answer. Do I recommend this game? Well, if you are a fan of real miniature golf, this game gives you a surprisingly accurate miniature golf simulator. It gives you the same rewarding feeling when you succeed and gives you the same angry frustration when you fail. So if you are a fan of real miniature golf, I highly recommend you grab your friend and head out for a round of miniature golf on the Atari 2600.